It doesn't start with a bang. It begins with the small things. The stretch in the morning that feels heavier than it used to. The energy that used to carry you through the afternoon now fades by noon. You tell yourself it's age. You tell yourself maybe it's just a rough patch or the weather or that you didn't sleep right. But deep down, something whispers. This isn't just fatigue. This isn't just aging. It's something quieter, slower, as if your body's rhythm, the one that kept you steady for decades, is stumbling. And no matter how clean you eat, how many walks you take, how much you try to do what they all say is healthy, the weight stays. The brain fog thickens, the blood sugar creeps up, and worst of all, no one seems to have a clear answer. You sit in waiting rooms, you hear conflicting advice. One says, drink more juice, another says, cut it out completely. One says, stay hydrated, another says, you're drinking too much. You're left sifting through labels that all say natural, heart healthy, no added sugar, and yet your body keeps sending signals that something isn't right. And you're not imagining it, you're not weak, you're not failing, you're drinking what you were told was good for you, but what your body now quietly recognizes as poison, not in a dramatic, violent way, but in a slow metabolic unraveling that shows up in ways hard to trace. A bottle of tea here, a splash of sweet cream there, a cup of something to get things moving or help you sleep. They don't seem like enemies, but they behave like thieves. They steal your clarity, your balance, your internal fire, until one day you wake up and wonder when exactly your body stopped listening to you. But the truth is, it didn't. It's been trying to speak, through the bloating, through the exhaustion, through the stubborn weight, and all along it's been pointing to the same silent culprits. Those 5 sweetened drinks that seem so innocent, so ordinary, so trusted, and yet they've been slowly crashing the system meant to keep you strong. You've seen the labels, the ones with gentle fonts and leafy designs, bottles that promise lightly sweetened or no added sugar, with pictures of fruit basking in soft sunlight, whispering health with every curve of the bottle. You trusted them because they spoke your language: simplicity, clean living, gentle support for aging bodies. You weren't trying to indulge, you were trying to nourish. But beneath the wellness words is a story most people never read. Because the sweetness isn't just in teaspoons anymore. It's in fructose syrups, agave extracts, organic cane juice, evaporated solids, names that don't sound like sugar but act just like it. Some are worse because they're hidden behind claims of natural energy, gut health, or immune boosting. So you sip the cranberry blend with breakfast, the protein shake mid-morning, the golden milk latte to soothe your joints, and you don't feel indulgent. You feel responsible. But inside your bloodstream, these sweetened sips act the same as pouring sugar straight into your veins. Your pancreas doesn't pause to read labels. Your liver doesn't weigh the marketing. It reacts to the sugar. It gets overwhelmed. It starts storing fat in places it never did before, around your organs, deep in your belly, and slowly it begins whispering to your metabolism to slow down, to protect, to brace. That's when things begin to stall. You get tired faster, hungrier sooner. Your clothes stop fitting the way they used to, even if your weight hasn't changed much. And still, the drinks sit in your fridge with their soothing promises. And you think, if this is wrong, why does everyone say it's healthy? The truth is, the food industry knows what words seniors trust, knows what pictures calm your fears, and they use it to keep you sipping what keeps you stuck. But now, that quiet voice inside, the one that told you something feels off, is beginning to speak louder. And soon you'll see each sweetened drink not as a helper, but as the slow hand behind the scenes, pulling the strings on your energy, your cravings, your weight, and the balance you've been fighting to regain. It starts with a promise, a little warmth in a mug, a scent that stirs you awake before you even sip it. Morning coffee, so familiar, so comforting, so harmless, until you pour in that creamer, just a splash, just a swirl, just enough to make it smooth. You tell yourself it's a small treat, but what begins as a ritual quickly becomes a trap, because those creamers, the hazelnut, the vanilla, the ones labeled zero sugar or plant-based, are built to deceive. Even the unsweetened ones can spike your insulin because they're loaded with chemical thickeners, artificial flavors, and sweeteners designed to hit your taste buds like sugar without technically being sugar. Your body doesn't fall for it, it responds anyway, with insulin surges, with liver activity, with confused hunger signals that make you reach for food you wouldn't have touched an hour ago. This is how the day starts, not with fuel, but with a jolt, a spike that burns out quickly, a crash that leaves you chasing energy until dinner time. And for many seniors, it doesn't stop at coffee. It's breakfast shakes, flavored oat milk, powdered mixes that say just add water. They're all disguised variations of the same trick. Sweetness in a drink taken when the body is most sensitive. In the early morning, your metabolism is like a blank page. What you write on it sets the tone for the whole day. And when that first line is sugar, hidden, processed, or artificial, it throws off everything. Your hunger patterns, your energy curve, your ability to burn fat instead of store it. You may think, but it's just coffee, it's just one drink. But when that one drink becomes a daily gateway to craving more, eating more, and crashing harder, the damage stacks quietly, day after day, week after week, until your body is no longer responding the way it used to, not because it's old, but because it's overwhelmed. And the worst part is, it started with something that felt like comfort, but that comfort had a cost. And now it's time to ask, what are you really waking up to? You finish the drink, you move on with your morning. But an hour later, there it is, a subtle whisper inside your stomach. Not a true hunger, but a nudge. A leaning towards something sweet, something carby, something comforting. You tell yourself it's harmless, a cracker here, a granola bar there, maybe another cup of something sweetened to hold you over. You're not overeating, you're just following the cues. But what if those cues aren't real hunger? What if they were planted, seeded by that one drink, that one ingredient, that one hit of sweetness in liquid form? Because that's the trap no one tells you about. Sweetened drinks, especially when consumed first thing, don't just spike your blood sugar, they train your brain. Each sip is a signal. More of this, please. More sugar, more sweetness, more quick hits of energy. And so your body obeys. It reaches for more, often without you realizing why. That innocent morning creamer, it becomes a craving for something mid-morning. That juice with breakfast, it becomes the reason you feel snacky all afternoon. And even when you resist the craving, you feel the drain, the sluggishness, the mood dip, the lack of control, like something inside you is pulling the strings and you're just trying to keep up. This is the craving cycle. And once it starts, it doesn't care how disciplined you are. It doesn't care how clean your meals are. One drink can undo it all because the body remembers sweetness. It holds onto it. It prepares for it. And the more it comes in liquid form, the faster it enters, the harder it hits, and the deeper it rewires your appetite. Over time, it's not just cravings, it's dependency. You don't just want the sweet. You feel like you need it to function, to focus, to stay upright. And that's when you know, this isn't about willpower anymore. It's about biochemistry. It's about what sweetened drinks are doing, not just to your waistline, but to your ability to feel balanced, calm, and free. And the longer it goes on, the louder the cravings become, until it's hard to tell what's real hunger and what's just a memory of sweetness whispering from inside. It feels like a good choice. A glass of juice in the morning. Maybe it's cranberry, good for the bladder, or apple, gentle on the stomach. Maybe it's labeled 100% juice, no added sugar, or not from concentrate. And that makes it feel safe. You're not reaching for soda. You're reaching for what sounds like nature, what sounds like wisdom. But juice, even the pure kind, doesn't arrive in your body the way fruit does. It arrives fast. It arrives stripped. It arrives without the fiber that used to slow it down, without the pulp that signaled your body to digest gently. What you're left with is a surge. Liquid fructose flooding the bloodstream. And your metabolism, it's not built for that anymore. Not without consequences. Because even just a few ounces can send your blood sugar soaring, then crashing, leaving you tired, foggy, and craving more within the hour. This isn't about blaming juice. It's about understanding what it's become. Juice used to be a luxury, an occasional treat. Now it's sold as a health product, and for seniors, it's pitched as prevention. Good for your heart, good for digestion, gentle on the body. But inside that bottle is the same fructose that wears down your liver, stores fat around your middle, and trains your body to expect more sugar every day. Even juices marketed for diabetics or blood sugar support often contain concentrates or natural sweeteners that still overload the system. And the worst part is, you drink it thinking you're helping yourself. That's the illusion. It's not about drinking too much. It's about drinking something that was never meant to be consumed that fast, that easily, that often. Your body is not broken. It's responding perfectly to what it's been given. And when juice shows up dressed like a helper, but behaves like a trigger, it's no wonder your metabolism gets confused. No wonder your energy dips. No wonder you feel like you're doing everything right and still falling behind. The truth is, juice may look like health, but it acts like sugar. And sugar in this form is the silent hand slowing you down from the inside out. You don't feel it right away. That's what makes it dangerous. There's no sharp pain, no alarm bell, just a slow fade in your energy, a thickening around your waist, a fog settling behind your eyes, and beneath it all, your liver is fighting a silent war, because every sweetened drink you've trusted, every juice, creamer, flavored milk, even those labeled natural, they all ask your liver to do one thing: process the fructose. But here's the truth most people never hear. Fructose isn't handled the same way as other sugars. It doesn't go into your muscles for energy. It goes straight to your liver. And when that liver is already tired, already overloaded from years of little sips and small treats, it starts to change. It starts converting that sugar into fat. Fat stored not just under the skin, but around your organs, deep in your belly. And once that begins, your metabolism shifts. It slows, it braces, it tries to protect you the only way it knows how, by holding on to every calorie, by shutting down your ability to burn fat, by triggering inflammation that leaves you stiff, swollen, and fatigued, all because your liver, the quiet engine room of your body, has been flooded by sugar it was never meant to process in such concentrated forms. This is why it's not your fault. You were told these drinks were safe, that fruit sugar is gentle, that natural means healthy, but your liver knows the difference. It's not reading the label, it's reading the impact, and right now, it's waving a white flag. The good news? The liver is resilient. Incredibly so. It doesn't need perfection, it just needs relief. Less sugar in disguise, more time to reset, and the moment it gets that chance, your body begins to shift. The fog lifts, the energy returns. The fire inside your metabolism starts to stir again. But it begins with knowing the truth. Sweetened drinks aren't just hurting your waistline. They're breaking your liver's rhythm. And when that rhythm breaks, everything else falls behind. You're told to stay hydrated, especially as you age. They say dehydration is dangerous, that your body needs support, electrolytes, balance. And so you reach for the bottle that promises it all. Restored minerals, balanced fluids, more energy. The label reads like science, like care. Replenish, restore, essential for active adults. But inside that bottle is a different story. One loaded with sugar, artificial dyes, and sweeteners that do more harm than help. Sports drinks were never made for your body. They were made for athletes in high-intensity conditions, sweating for hours, burning hundreds of calories. But now, they're marketed to everyone, including seniors who simply want to feel better. The problem is, these drinks hit your system fast. The sugars or chemical sweeteners flood the bloodstream. The body responds with insulin. And once again, your metabolism is thrown off course. Even the zero-sugar versions aren't safe. Sucralose, acesulfame potassium, and others still disrupt your gut, still confuse your brain's hunger signals, still cause your liver to brace for an incoming sugar storm that never arrives, but still leaves damage. And they create a pattern. You sip them during a walk. You sip them when you feel tired. You sip them when your doctor says, stay hydrated. But hydration doesn't require sugar. It doesn't require neon colors. It doesn't require a chemical cocktail pretending to care about your electrolytes. In fact, these drinks often dehydrate you more by triggering your kidneys and disrupting natural thirst. And the worst part, they keep your metabolism on edge, constantly guessing, constantly adjusting, constantly trying to make sense of calories that don't act like real food and sweetness that doesn't bring nourishment. It's not hydration, it's a hidden metabolic stress, one you feel later as fatigue, inflammation, and cravings. You think you're doing the right thing, but these drinks don't heal. They hijack, and when your metabolism is already fragile, already slowed by time and struggle, that hijack costs more than it used to. Your body isn't asking for electrolytes. It's asking for honesty, and sometimes the most healing thing you can give it is just water. There was a time when your body burned steady. Meals gave you energy. Movement felt light. You could skip a snack and still feel clear-headed, strong. That was your metabolism at work, like a campfire, glowing from within, steadily feeding your cells with warmth and rhythm. But now it flickers, it sputters. The fire is still there, but it doesn't catch like it used to. And every sweetened drink you take, whether it's juice, tea, creamer, or electrolyte blend, it's like pouring cold water on fragile coals. Not enough to put the fire out, just enough to keep it from rising. That low-burning flame, that's what regulates everything. Your energy, your digestion, your brain's clarity, your body's ability to burn fat instead of hoard it. But it can't do its job when it's constantly being doused by sweetness, and you feel the difference. You get colder faster, your digestion slows, your meals sit heavier, you start craving things you never used to want. Not because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because your fire isn't getting the right fuel. And what's worse, the sweetened drinks feel harmless. They're soft, sippable, comforting, but they don't feed the fire. They dampen it. They confuse it. They tell your body to shut down the systems meant to help you thrive and to go into storage mode instead, storing fat, storing toxins, storing emotions that make you feel tired, foggy, even anxious. That's how deep it goes. Your metabolism isn't just about calories, it's about how your body feels safe enough to use its energy wisely. And when that safety is disrupted, day after day, sip after sip, the flame dims. Not out, not gone, just quiet. Waiting, because deep down, your body still knows how to burn, still remembers how to rise, still holds the blueprint for balance. But it needs less confusion, less sweet interruption, more truth, more warmth, more space to catch its breath. And sometimes it starts with one choice, one less drink, one less drop of hidden sugar, one quiet decision to protect the fire and let it burn again. You made the switch for good reasons. Maybe dairy started upsetting your stomach. Maybe a friend mentioned inflammation. Maybe a label caught your eye. Heart healthy, easy to digest, good for the planet. So you reached for almond milk, oat milk, soy milk. And in those cartons, you believed you found something gentler, something cleaner. But here's what they don't tell you. Most of these plant-based milks are sweetened, even the ones that don't seem like it. Vanilla, original, light. These words often mask what's really inside. Cane sugar, agave, brown rice syrup. And even when it doesn't say sugar, there's something in it designed to sweeten the taste and smooth the texture, and it hits your metabolism just the same. The problem isn't the plant milk itself, it's the sweetening, the processing, the additives. It's the way it shows up in your coffee, your cereal, your smoothie every single day. And those small amounts, they don't stay small, because what's just a few grams here becomes a pattern. A constant drip of sugar disguised as nourishment, and over time your body starts reacting. That familiar bloat, that heaviness after breakfast, that creeping fatigue by mid-morning. It's not age, it's not random, it's your metabolism responding to yet another source of sugar in disguise. And the most dangerous part, you feel like you're doing the right thing, you're trying to make a better choice, but they've turned better choices into another form of marketing. They've taken your good intention and sold you sweetness dressed as wellness. But your body isn't fooled. It's tracking every sip. It's logging every gram. And it's adapting, not with strength, but with protection. Slower metabolism, more fat storage, insulin resistance building in the background, all while you think you're healing. This isn't to shame you, it's to show you, because once you see what's really in that glass, you can choose again. You can look for the unsweetened versions, the clean ones, the ones that truly support your system, not stress it. And suddenly your body isn't fighting anymore. It's responding, it's warming back up, it's remembering how to thrive without the hidden sugar dressed as help. Maybe you saw the words zero sugar and felt relief. Maybe someone told you stevia was natural, or sucralose was safer than sugar, or erythritol wouldn't raise your blood sugar at all. So you tried the flavored waters, the sugar-free teas, the diet shakes with natural sweeteners. And they tasted sweet enough, almost like the real thing. But your body isn't fooled by loopholes. Because even when there are no calories, no grams of sugar, no immediate glucose spike, your body still responds. Your brain still tastes sweetness. Your insulin still prepares for sugar. Your gut bacteria still shift. And slowly, silently, your metabolism starts to unravel in ways that don't show up on a label. These artificial or so-called natural sweeteners don't just pass through harmlessly. They change your relationship with hunger. They trick your taste buds into craving more. They confuse the signals that tell your body when it's full, when it's nourished, when it's safe. And when those signals break down, you eat more than you meant to. You snack when you weren't hungry. You wonder why you're still putting on weight even though you've cut out sugar. This is how it happens, not because you failed, but because sweet doesn't mean safe. Not anymore. Not when companies can engineer flavors that hit your reward system like sugar, but never satisfy the body's deeper needs. Not when zero-calorie sweetness still shifts your insulin, still stresses your liver, still disrupts the balance your metabolism depends on. For seniors, that balance is fragile. Your hormones don't buffer the way they used to. Your body reads every signal more intensely. So when you give it fake sugar, day after day, it's like feeding it static instead of music. And eventually, the rhythm breaks, your energy drops, your digestion slows, your cravings take over, and you're left wondering where it all went wrong. But the answer isn't more restriction, it's more truth. Because the moment you stop chasing sweetness and start choosing nourishment instead, is the moment your body can finally come back into rhythm and start healing on its own terms. It looks harmless, maybe even helpful. A sleek bottle with earthy tones, labels that say organic, probiotic, immune support. The kind of drink that shows up in the health food aisle, not the soda shelf. Kombucha, green tea elixirs, herbal brews with honey or agave. You're drawn to it not because it feels indulgent, but because it feels wise, balanced, nourishing. But here's the reality. Many of these bottled teas and wellness beverages are quietly loaded with sugar. Some pack 5 to 6 teaspoons into one small container. Others use fruit juice concentrates or syrups that sound natural but behave just like refined sugar in your body. And when you drink them, the effects stack quickly. Your blood sugar spikes, your insulin rushes in, your cravings rise. But you don't trace it back to the bottle because you think you made a healthy choice. And that's what makes it dangerous. The illusion of safety, of virtue, of something healing that slowly, sip by sip, putting more strain on your metabolism. Especially for seniors, this matters. Because at this stage, your body can't buffer the way it used to. What it once handled in stride now sticks. It accumulates. It leaves a mark. And when you're drinking sugar that doesn't taste like sugar, you're even less prepared for the aftermath. That's the trap of wellness drinks. They sell you peace of mind and deliver metabolic chaos. Even a few ounces a day can make the difference between a body in balance and a body in defense mode. And when you're already dealing with blood sugar issues, inflammation, fatigue, this isn't a small detail, it's the foundation. Your metabolism isn't crashing because you're not trying. It's crashing because the things you trusted were sweet in the wrong ways. And now the question isn't whether you failed, it's whether you're ready to see clearly, because clarity is the first step to repair. And once you stop giving your body drinks that confuse it, you give it a chance to return to calm, to stability, to strength. And that strength has been waiting, quietly, patiently, beneath the sugar and the slogans, ready to rise. It's easy to think something's just broken when your energy won't rise, when your weight won't drop, when you eat better, move more, try harder, and still feel stuck. You start to wonder if your body has simply given up, like a machine that's too old, too worn out, too far gone. But that's not what's happening, not even close. Your metabolism isn't broken. It's blocked, clogged, slowed by years of mixed signals, burdened by drinks that seemed healthy, by labels that lied, by a system that never once warned you what constant sweetness could do to your internal rhythm. Your body still knows what to do. It's still trying to protect you. But the messages have been scrambled. Your insulin can't keep up. Your liver's been overloaded. Your hunger signals are muffled by artificial noise. And now, instead of burning energy, your body holds onto it. Instead of feeling steady, you feel heavy. But the design is still there. The flame is still flickering. And here's the truth. Your body doesn't need perfection to reset. It just needs relief. A break in the pattern, a pause in the cycle, a signal that things are safe again. And that signal can come from something as simple as what's in your cup. Remove the daily sugar spike. Replace the artificial sweetness. Give your body real hydration, real peace, real space to remember. Because once the block is lifted, even just a little, your system begins to reawaken. You sleep better. You digest better. Your energy doesn't just return, it builds. And the weight that once clung to your frame begins to loosen its grip. You weren't broken. You were overwhelmed, misled, flooded with too much of the wrong input for too many years. But none of that defines you, not anymore. Because now you can clear the path, not with punishment, but with awareness, with gentleness, with trust in your body's ability to rebuild. And it will. It's already trying, and every sweetened drink you remove is not a sacrifice, it's a signal, a message to your metabolism. The confusion is over, you're safe to rise. You've seen what doesn't work. You've felt it in your joints, in your gut, in the fog that settles after something sweet. But what do you drink instead? When every label feels like a trick, and even water starts to feel too plain. The answer isn't punishment, it isn't sipping in silence or giving up the comfort of flavor. It's remembering that the body was never built to run on sweetness alone. It was built to respond to nature, to subtlety, to nourishment you can't always taste, but always feel. Start with water, but give it character. Add lemon, cucumber, mint, or a pinch of sea salt. Not for flavor alone, but for function. These ingredients hydrate deeper, support digestion, and calm inflammation. Herbal teas are another path, especially ones like ginger, cinnamon, peppermint, hibiscus. Unsweetened, warm or cold, they speak to the body in a language it understands. They don't spike, they don't crash, they soothe. Bone broth, rich in minerals, gentle on the stomach, can do more for your metabolism than a sugary shake ever could. It doesn't just nourish, it rebuilds. And then there's cinnamon water or cider vinegar diluted in warm water with a sprinkle of cayenne. Not fads, but ancient ways the body has always known. If you miss the sweetness, transition slowly. Dilute juices with water. Try coconut water sparingly, unsweetened and in small sips. Notice how your body feels. Lighter, more stable, less desperate for the next hit. This isn't about giving up joy. It's about reclaiming clarity. Because every time you reach for a drink that supports your metabolism, instead of sabotaging it, you send a different message. You say, I choose strength. I choose balance. I choose to listen to what my body has been asking for all along. Not louder, just clearer. And it begins, not with a diet, not with fear, but with one glass, one cup, one shift. And soon enough, the body responds, not with resistance, but with relief. The cravings calm, the fog lifts, and you remember what it feels like to be nourished. You didn't fail. You didn't ignore the warnings. You followed what the world told you was safe. You read the labels. You believed the promises. You reached for what was marketed as gentle, helpful, wise. And for that, you shouldn't feel shame. You should feel furious, because no one told you that lightly sweetened means your pancreas still pays the price, that natural sugar still disrupts your hormones, that drinks designed for active seniors can hijack the very metabolism you're fighting to protect. But here's the most important truth of all. Just because you were misled doesn't mean you're stuck. You still have power. And not in a grand, overwhelming way, not in the way that demands perfection or rigid control. No, your power now lives in the small, daily shifts, the quiet refusals, the choice to read the label a second time, to leave the bottle on the shelf, to ask, every time you lift a cup, does this bring balance or burden? That's how change begins, not with noise, with awareness, with reclaiming your role as the one who decides what goes into your body, not the brand, not the trend, not the ad that promises a miracle in a pretty package. You've lived too long to be fooled by sweet lies. Your body has done too much to be numbed by easy flavor. And now, instead of blaming yourself for the stall, you can begin to clear the path. You can unlearn what was sold to you and return to what your body has been asking for since the beginning. Simplicity, clarity, steady warmth, real hydration. The kind of nourishment that doesn't spike and crash, but lifts, supports, and holds. This is not about what you've done wrong. This is about what you're ready to do right. Not for a number on a scale, not for a trend, but because you want to feel strong again, clear again. You want to trust your body again. And that trust, it isn't earned by willpower. It's built through consistency, through choosing honesty over habit. And once you start, the body responds. Slowly, steadily, powerfully, because it always wanted to heal. It just needed you to stop pouring sugar on the signal and start listening. It won't be sudden. There won't be a trumpet blast or a switch flipped. But one morning, you'll wake up and feel something different. Not dramatic, not dazzling, just steady. Like your body remembered something it had forgotten. The ache in your joints will be softer. The bloating will have eased. Your hands, once puffy, will feel like your own again. Your energy, once scattered and fragile, will return, not in a surge, but in a calm current you can trust. Because that's how healing comes. Not in a roar, but in a whisper. The cravings don't vanish overnight, but they stop shouting. Your meals begin to satisfy you again. You stop reaching for snacks without knowing why. And when you drink, it's with intention. Each cup becomes a quiet ritual of repair. Cinnamon in warm water, herbal tea after dinner, a glass of lemon water before a walk, and those 5 sweetened drinks, the ones that once claimed comfort, no longer call to you the same way. You see them for what they are, beautiful distractions with hidden costs. You haven't lost anything. You've reclaimed something, your clarity, your balance, the fire inside that never went out. It was just buried beneath the wrong fuel. And now that you've cleared the way, your metabolism begins to hum again. Your sleep deepens. Your mornings stretch wide and bright. You walk a little farther. You stand a little taller. And it's not just about your body. It's about your trust in it. It's about realizing that change doesn't demand suffering. It asks for awareness. It asks for rhythm, for consistency, for choosing peace over convenience, truth over sweetness. You are not too old to change. You are not too far gone to shift. And your body is not your enemy. It's your oldest ally, waiting patiently for your return. So let the labels fade. Let the ads blur. Let the noise fall away and listen, not to what they say, but to what your body knows. That healing is slow and worth it. That strength returns sip by sip. That your fire once dimmed is glowing again. And with every honest drink, you feed it, you fuel it, you rise with it, quietly, powerfully, just as you were always meant to.